Hi there, and welcome into a brand new show here at TVNB. The name of the show is called Time Out. I'm Jim Hennessy, and I will be joined by Barry Johnston, our co-host here, in just a few moments' time. What I'd like to do at this time is thank you very much for tuning in, and we want to let you know what the show is all about. Seeing that it is a brand new show, we'll give you the rundown. What we're going to do is, for the past week that has gone by in sports, we're going to give you the highlights from some of the local action, and we're going to give you some of the highlights from around the major leagues, the NHL, and we're just going to pretty much cover the gamut in sports. Starting off this week, it's Game 3 of the New Brunswick Senior Baseball Finals. The St. John Alpines try to get back into the best-of-7 series, trailing 2 games to none.
Greg, you're down 2-0. How important is this game tonight?
Oh, I mean, you know yourself, everything, you know, down 2-0. Don't want to be going up to Miramichi down 3-0. So this game here, don't really want to say do or die, because we were down 3-0 last year and tied it up 3-3, but that's not a corner we want to paint ourselves into.
Brent, you've been playing a little bit of second baseman in right field, and you're in the right field, I believe, tonight. And Brent, you've been through this before. You were down 3-0, came back last year. Chatham has surprised a lot of people. You guys had a bit of a layoff, which I think probably hurt the team a little bit. Now, Chatham, have they surprised you in what they've done so far?
Well, I don't want to take anything for granted against these guys, and we obviously did. They have a good team, and you know, I think with their backs against the walls last year and this year, I think we're going to be ready for the game tonight, and certainly we don't want to go up there down 3-0.
Gray, they're going to be pitching left-hander Jean-Luc Godin. You saw him in the first game. He picked up the win, although you did score a few runs off him. I think 6-8 runs, 11-8 was the score for Chatham. Left-hander with an off-speed pitch. What do you expect from him? And then you're throwing your hard-throwing left-hander Scott Martin. So 2 different type of left-handers?
Yeah, exactly. Godin, fastball, curveball, changeup. He's up, he's down, he's on the corner, he's down the pipe. You're never really sure where he's going to put it. You know, I find that if you get to him early, then you can usually rack up a couple of early runs and stuff. He does tend to walk a lot of guys, but I mean, if we're not willing to take those walks, it's not really going to happen. So Scotty Martin's going to go out, pitch a heck of a game for us. He's done it all year, and right now, wouldn't want to give the ball to anyone else.
Good. Greg will be the leadoff man, and Brent, you've moved up in the lineup. You've been hitting the ball quite consistently, a good contact hitter, and you don't swing at a lot of bad pitches. So Coach Skid decided to shuffle the lineup a little bit and see if we can start getting some runners on, so the 3-4 guys can maybe drive in a few, Brent.
Yes, well, we got a pretty versatile lineup, you know, and we play anywhere we're supposed to play, and fortunately we got a lot of speed, so Greg's going to lead off, and hopefully I can move him over with sacrifice bunts or, you know, just driving the ball out in the field.
You got to depend on your bench, Greg. You've lost 2 starting showed and Mike King, who's committed himself to Houston Hudson College, going to try to get up, but it's in doubt that he could be finished for the year because of his studies and his commitment to the ball team. And Alan Cantwell's gone back to the University of Lethbridge, I believe. And so how do you counterattack? Do you people have 2 adequate ball players that can fill in and replace 2 starters?
Oh, I mean, there's no doubt about it. You know, obviously, if I had the choice, we'd still have Cantwell and King with us. But, you know, education's a priority, so they can't really put that on the back burner. Only carrying 13 guys all year, but, you know, I mean, you take us, and just like Brent just mentioned, you compare us to other teams in the league, we've got probably 8 guys on the team that can play 3, 4, 5 different positions even. So the luxury of that is losing those 2 quality ball players, but, you know, we've got guys that can step in, fill the void. We almost pulled it off Sunday, and we're going to go out and pull it off tonight.
Brent, how important it is to get off to a good start against this Chatham team? They're an experienced ball team, a lot of experience in the Desprez brothers, Dino Gallant, David Godfrey. They've got some excellent, classy ball players, and so you've got to get off to a good start.
Yeah, you can say it any better. They definitely have a lot of real good players. They have a good tradition over there in Chatham, and they produce a lot of good baseball talent. So getting up early on these guys would be certainly benefit us, and fortunately, we left guys stranded, and tonight I don't think we're going to leave them stranded, so we're going to use that to our advantage tonight.
Okay, boys, the guys seem to be quite fired up in the batting practice. I want to thank Brent McClellan, Greg Arnold for coming by tonight for TVNB. Have a great game, boys, and see if you can get back in this series.
There's Alpine starting pitcher Scott Martin for Game 3 of this New Brunswick Senior Baseball Final. Martin simply brilliant on the mound for this game. Got off to a bit of a shaky start. He walks the first Chatham batter. Martin trying to settle in. Rather cool night at Memorial Field that night. Takes a little bit of a while for the arm to warm up. The Chatham Ironman base runner steals second. So the Ironmen are threatening. So Mike Skid comes out, takes a trip to the mound, make sure everything's all right with Martin. Martin gives him the thumbs up to say, we're ready to go. Let's get this game underway. And he really settles in. After a bit of a first inning jam, starts finding his zone rather quickly. And the Ironmen just trying to get something going here in this top of the first inning because they know if they can get some runs on the board early. And with a 2-0 lead in this series, they're going to be in good shape. Martin continues to settle in, and that ends the Ironman threat in the top half of the first inning. Alpine's coming to bat on the mound for Chatham tonight. Good variety of pitches, good fastball, good changeup. Jean-Luc Godin. And the Alpines know that they need to get some runs early. They've had a real problem so far in these first 2 games of this best of 7 trying to get some runs. There's Greg Arnold. A routine fly out to left field. The Alpines just desperately trying to get something going early here. As Jean-Luc strikes out another batter. And there's Kevin Martin getting hit by a pitch, and you could hear there was some heat behind that ball. Martin in obvious pain here. Pitcher just trying to back him up out of the box a little bit. Jean-Luc throwing some smoke, and he caught it a little high. Martin in some obvious pain. See the Alpines coaches out there checking on Kevin. Huge loss to the Alpines with him falling out of the lineup. And he doesn't stay in this game too much longer. We'll have the details on that coming up in just a bit. Now the Alpines trying to get something going here. Martin on first. There's the routine force out to second. And the Alpines threat is done. So the first inning of play is complete. And then Scotty Martin really settles in. He starts throwing some smoke. Top half of the second. And there's Kevin Martin leaving the game. You remember he got hit by the pitch there in the bottom half of the first. Martin just in too much pain to try to finish up this game. So he is out. You can see the frustration on the Ironman hitters here. I didn't like that call from the umpire. Just trying to get anything going. Scotty Martin really found his groove. Didn't take him long. And he sits down the side rather routinely. So we head to the bottom of the second. Jean-Luc walks the first Alpines batter.
Come on, Carl, come on, buddy.
Actually walks the first 2 hitters. That coming up here shortly. Like we said earlier, the Alpines have had plenty of base runners in these first 2 games of the series so far, but have had trouble trying to get them in. So runners on first and second. Alpines threatening here. There's a sharp single hit. Force out. Second. So runners at first and third. Routine pop-up, or so it looks like. And the Ironman first baseman drops the ball. They get the force out at second, but the run does score. And a routine fly here to wrap up the Alpines' threat. But the Alpines do get that 1 run across the board. So after 2 innings of play, Alpines lead 1-0. Game 3. There's Martin back on the hill. And he sits down the Ironman fairly routine. Well, nothing too routine about it. He was throwing some good pitches that night. There's Greg Arnold. He opens up with a double in the bottom of the third. Rounding second. And in there, no problems. So the Alpines start off the bottom of the third. Greg Arnold opens up with a double. There's Brent McClellan. He grounds out, but he does advance the runner to third. And Colin Ring, who's trying to find his swing once again, get a little hot during this series.
Good job.
With 2 out now, the Alpines, Colin Ring taking the intentional walk, and you see that he drops his bat before the pitch even gets in there. And he's a little lucky he didn't get a warning from the umpire on that one. Then the Alpines single in another run. There's Greg Arnold coming in to score. So it's first and third with 2 out. Here comes the highlight shot of the night. There it goes. No question about it. Left center field. She's deep. 3-run dinger. So the Alpines lead 4-0 after 3 innings of play. Like we've been mentioning, the Alpines have had some trouble trying to score some runs, but no question about it. They get those runs early, and that's exactly what they want, because with the pitching performance Scotty Martin puts on, they won't need too many. If you were over at the ballpark, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There's the Ironman just desperately trying to get a runner aboard. But a stellar defensive play keeps them off the base pads. Attempted bunt coming up. Another strikeout for Martin, and he's cruising along. The Alpines heading to the bottom of the fourth, 4-0 lead. They need this victory desperately, down 2-0. They don't want to head back up to Chatham. So Adam Power draws the leadoff walk in the bottom of the fourth. And that'll be it for Jean-Luc Godin. That brings in a new pitcher for the Ironmen. That'll be Jeff Agnew. And the Alpines really trying to keep this threat going here in the inning. See the attempted bunt over to first. And then a routine fly out will end the Alpine threat. Great catch there in center field. So you see the Ironman hitters frustrated, desperately trying to figure out Scotty Martin on this night. For the second time, he strikes out this game. And the Alpines really get something going here. The bottom of the fifth, Colin Ring hits that sharp one-out single up the left field, and then he steals second promptly. So the Alpines have got runners in scoring position. There's another single to left center to bring in Ring, make the score 5-0 now.
Number 33, Sean.
There's a sharp hit double. Looks like the right fielder might have played that wrong or saw it coming in wrong. Double to right field, and that advances runners to second and third. And then the floodgates open wide. There's a sharp single to drive in both runs and advance to second on the wild throw to home plate coming up here.
Good slide.
So the Alpines' threat is then ended in the bottom of the fifth. They went on into the bottom of the sixth to score 3 more runs and put the game totally out of reach. Final score, Game 3 of the New Brunswick Senior Baseball Final. At St. John Alpines 11, Chatham Ironmen no score. And Game 4 was played while we were taping this show on Sunday afternoon, but we still have no result from that. But we will have a final score for you come next week. Going to take a quick break right now, but we'll be coming right back.
I'm Jill Deacon.
And I'm Jay Ingram. At Discovery Canada is your window to the daily world of science.
And nature and technology. If it's making headlines, it'll be on at Discovery Canada.
From the stars above to the earth and the seas below.
The stories you don't see anywhere else, you'll see here every night.
Your journey begins on At Discovery Canada.
Entertaining, informative, and interactive. Join Jay and Jill for At Discovery Canada, weeknights on the Discovery Channel.
I'm late! I'm late! You must have been a beautiful ducky.
Events like this auction are one way Ducks Unlimited keeps up the good work. What good work?
Sold! While getting all kinds of people involved in conserving marshlands for wildlife. Naturally.
Ducks Unlimited.
This is TVNB, the New Brunswick channel, owned and operated by Fundy Communications.
And we're back. Welcome into Time Out, a brand new show here on TVNB. If you're just joining us, we'll give you a quick rundown on what the show is all about. We're going to be discussing sports on the local scene, on the international scene. Major League Baseball, NHL exhibition hockey kicked off, and we've got the gamut covered. So we welcome you in, and we hope to hear from you. If you have some input for the show, we'd love to hear from you. Phone number to get a hold of us is 657-8862, or if you have some schedules to drop off to us, whatever the case might be, fax number is 646-5116. Now, we do have an update on Game 4 of the New Brunswick Senior Baseball Final. We rolled the clips for you as the show began. Chatham beats up, and I do mean beats up, on the St. John Alpines 10-0 the final in Chatham this afternoon. Kevin Martin, you remember he got hit with a pitch in Game 3. We have an update from Kevin's condition. Kevin has a broken arm and will be lost to the team for Game 5, which is coming up here Tuesday night, Memorial Field at 8 o'clock. Right now, we'd like to welcome in my co-host for Time Out here on TVNB, Barry Johnston. How are you?
Doing fine, thanks, Jim.
Beautiful. Listen, we used to do this on the radio, but now we're doing it on TV. Can you believe it?
Well, it's a big change. Lights here. We didn't have the lights in the studio like this, but...
No question about that. Nice to have you here. What we'll open up with is just get your feelings, I guess, on how the senior baseball final's gone so far.
Well, being a Miramichier, I guess I have to kind of root for those guys a little bit, but Chatham is a bit of a powerhouse, and because of the fact that the Alpines have lost Mike King and now Kevin Martin also, and I believe another player, which I just can't seem to think of right now, but they needed those players. I mean, Mike King's a big key, and so is Kevin Martin to that organization.
No question. After a stellar regular season like the Alpines did have, they went 25-3, and of course everybody expects them to just kind of cruise through the playoffs and you know, bring the provincial championship home. And I mean, they have over the past couple of years. They've done very well when it comes to the provincial championships, but this year they just can't seem to find that chemistry, whether it be they get a good pitching performance one night, the bats fall asleep, or it's vice versa. The bats come alive and then they can't get the pitching performance anymore.
Seems to be that way, and unfortunately you just can't be going Scott Martin all the time. I mean, the arm does have to rest, and you know, he played a real good game the other night in Game 3, so I mean, you know, he'll probably be ready for Game 5 on Tuesday night, which hopefully I know Mike Skid is looking forward to.
No question. Should be a good game. Don't forget that start time at Memorial Field is 8 o'clock. And like we said, we're going to be discussing a whole gamut of sports, so let's begin with Saturday night. Evander, the real deal, Holyfield back in the ring to defend his IBF and WBA crowns. Goes up against a fairly unknown in the heavyweight division, and that's not unusual in this day and age. 31-0 Von Bean goes the distance. He retains both his titles, but most of the output that I'm getting from this fight is that he looked old. He's really starting to show his age.
Well, he is getting up there in years for a boxer. I mean, you know, Foreman wants to make the big comeback too, but Holyfield, I think he's established there, and you know, I don't know why they even put Bean in there with him. I mean, it just didn't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
But the heavyweight boxers, there's just not too many of them out there to challenge him right now. I mean, Mike Tyson's just chomping at the bit here and waiting, but it remains to be seen, I guess.
The division is beaten down. There's no question about that with Mike Tyson gone, but of course he's now in front of the Nevada State Athletic Commission. He's trying to get his license back, and being a boxing fan, I found this quite humorous on Saturday when they rolled the clips from his press conference. Mike Tyson, of course, former undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, compares himself to Norman Bates, okay? They want him to see a psychiatrist before they'll give him his license back. You know, the heavyweight division has pretty much been dead since this guy's been gone. Do we let him back in and let him go and do whatever he wants? Or, like he said, I think I've got my head back on straight, so I'm ready to get back into the ring.
Well, comments like he compares himself to Norman Bates, how on straight is his head anyway? I mean, it's obviously spinning 360 here. It's just not, he's just not in the right frame of mind. Maybe the WWF, I don't know, maybe that screwed him up a little bit, I don't know. But I think he has to sit down, maybe to see a good psychologist or psychiatrist, or maybe both, and see what's going on up there in that head of his, because with Don King gone out of his head, he should be a little bit more sensible now, but I don't know.
You would think, anyway.
Yeah.
But that's another story. Anyway, let's change the page here and go to NHL exhibition hockey, which kicked off this weekend. The Leafs, the Canadians, were in action, which I must say, just to take my opening shot here before we get rolling, Montreal defeats the Boston Bruins 5-2 Saturday night. You got to like that, and I know JP behind the camera is pretty happy about that as well. But here we have a situation where we've got Ottawa, Montreal, Toronto, Vancouver, Calgary, and Edmonton. Of course, all these teams playing with the Canadian dollar and the loonie bouncing around like it is. Glenn Sather has gone on record saying that they need some help, they need some financial help. Montreal's hit a roadblock where they paid Mark Recchi almost $5 million for a one-year contract. Now Dan Foose says he wants more money. Corson says he wants more money. How can Canadian teams survive?
Well, with the dollar the way it's plummeting now, it's really looking bad. And in the sporting news just this week, they're really wondering how the Canadian teams are going to make a go of it right now, because it's just impossible right now. I mean, the dollar's just not there, and players are wanting to be paid in U.S. dollars, and that drives it up that much more. When you got to pay a player, say $1 million, you got to pay him close to $1.75 million
oh, yes.
to make it up in Canadian dollars. So it's, you know, you just can't do it. It's impossible.
It's making it tough. Then you have a situation in Toronto where they literally opened the money floodgates for Curtis Joseph. If memory serves me correct, the contract he signed was worth $30-some-odd million. Kenny Dryden, of course, took over that team late last year. He's the man in charge, and he says we needed a top-notch goaltender. But, I mean, you look at a guy like Felix Potvin, who's played as well as he has for this team over the years, and considering what's been in front of him, you know, you got to figure where Ken Dryden's head is, and especially with Vancouver. They signed Gar Snow, but they're still looking for another goaltender. Mike Keenan says he is. So why these two aren't on the phone talking to each other, with Bure wanting to get out of Vancouver and Potvin, obviously there's going to be no room for him in Toronto. What seems to be the roadblock there?
It seems like they want to possibly get the same amount of money in players as they paid for Joseph with Potvin. So hopefully they will. Hopefully they'll be talking to one another between the GMs and maybe make a trade for Bure, or, you know, something very similar in that type of deal.
I would think now a lot of people have said that Vancouver is not going to give up Bure. It's not going to be a one-for-one deal. There's just no way that's going to happen. But Toronto's got no draft picks left. They gave them all to Colorado a couple of years back to pick up Matt Sundin. We all know that. That's been very well documented. But I think if Ken Dryden was to sit down with Brian Burke, of course, who is hard to believe he's in charge of a hockey team out in Vancouver, but Brian is the man out there now, and he said that he's not going to dress Bure, that's it, until this guy decides if he wants to come back and play for us, or if we can ship him out somewhere. That's the bottom line right there.
Yeah. Of course, you know, Bure may say, well, I'll go back to Russia and play for an elite team over there, too. So it's hard to say what Bure's got in his mind and what his agent's telling him. So
exactly.
It remains to be seen. I mean, the season is getting very close, but players have been known to be pretty stubborn when they're talking millions of dollars.
No question. We got a few moments left. Let's talk about the St. John Flames. Rick Vive, new head coach. Of course, the boys made it all the way to the Calder Cup final last year, and people are expecting big things from this team again this year, but I think that might be a little optimistic going into it, seeing that we don't know who's going to be here in St. John, who's going to be up in Calgary. Your feelings on the upcoming season?
I think they're throwing Rick Vive into the Lions' den, I think, because he's got a big job to build this team up after the stellar performance that Bill Stewart did last year. Mm-hmm. He's got a real uphill battle right now. I don't know how he's going to do it. He's got no players in front of him unless Calgary just starts waving a magic wand and starts creating these players out of the blue. But we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. You know, there's not a whole lot of veterans going to be coming back. And, you know, we may get a great team again. You never know. It's hard to say.
Is Al Coates on the hot seat out in Calgary? Is it time that, you know, Coatesy and Sutter start producing, or is it bye-bye time?
I think it's been bye-bye time for Coatesy a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why he's still there with all his European draft picks that have gone back to Europe, most of them.
Sammy Helenas,
coming back
into the fold. Like,
yeah, says he might enjoy coming back. You know, but I don't know. I think he was given a raw deal last year. I mean, he wasn't. It was similar to David Ling under
Paul Baxter.
Yes. I mean, you know, and Scott Fraser. You know, there was two real good players that are gone now, and you know, could have been around maybe for a year or two, but Scott Fraser's going to be very happy playing in New York. So
I don't think he'll have any problem playing beside Wayne Gretzky, going out to dinner with him once in a while.
No, he's made the comment that he's quite excited about wanting to play, possibly on the same wing as him.
No question about it. Only got a few moments left, and we'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. Barry, of course, thank you for coming out, and Barry will be back with us every week. And you can check us out Monday nights at 6 o'clock right here on TVNB. And if you do have a schedule to send along to us, whether it be high school hockey, junior B, whatever the case might be, you can fax it to us at 646-5116, or you can call us on the telephone. We've got a voicemail. Just leave your message. Number there is 657-8862. Any final comments before we wrap up?
No, it's just this is a little different than what we've done on radio.
No question.
I'm hoping we'll get a good audience watching this now, and as things get rolling on, especially with the hockey and things like that, we should be we should really get things on the go here, and hopefully it'll work out all right.
Looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. Don't forget to join us again next Monday at 6 o'clock. You've been watching Time Out on TVNB.